A lot of the questions around the Chicago Bulls offseason have stemmed from what's going to happen with Nikola Vucevic. Well, if Evan Sidri is to believe, the Chicago Bulls are shopping Nikola Vucevic, and we now know what the asking price is. We're going to talk about it all and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, hosted by Hayes, your number one spot for all things Chicago Bulls.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host there, Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod for every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. And this one comes from Evan Sidri of Forbes. He says this: the Bulls are angling for additional draft capital using Nikola Vucevic. Chicago is prioritizing their young core as Vuce hopes to land in a contending situation. If a team were to offer a late first for Vuce before the 25 draft, Chicago is very open to the idea. Now, this should not be anything that shocks any Bulls fan. The Bulls moving on from Nikola Vucevic is one of the most sensible things that the Bulls could do this offseason. We've all talked about it. Vuce doesn't necessarily fit what the Chicago Bulls are now trying to do with their roster. That's been one thing that's been pretty clear and consistent with this team. Now, with that said, if this Bulls team is going to be looking to move on from Nikola Vucevic, it means that they're going to have to get something back. Now, I don't think the Bulls are going to get a high first-round pick for Nikola Vucevic. I even think getting a low first-round pick for Vuce it's probably going to be a little bit difficult. Right now, a team would have to really believe in what Vuce can be. And I know some Bulls fans, even see some of you guys in the comments are like, oh my God, good luck. But let's not act like Vuce isn't still one of the most productive offensive centers in the game of basketball. He is. And for a team that's contending and needs some center help, it could make some sense. I'm not saying that you're going to be breaking down the bank or getting a high pick or whatever else, but getting back into the first round of this draft has always been something that the Bulls could have been interested in. When you look at some of the teams that could be interested, right? Let's just look at we're going to look at 20 on. That's what we're going to look at. At number 20 is the Golden State Warriors. They're a team that have been mentioned being interested before. Number 21, the Minnesota Timberwolves. I don't see that happening. I'm sorry, Utah actually has that pick, I believe. Yeah, Utah has that pick at number 21. I don't see them being interested. At number 22, the Los Angeles Lakers. Don't see them being interested, right? Maybe. I know that they do need a center, but I think the type of center that they need now has changed with Luka Doncic being on that team. At 23, the Indiana Pacers. I don't see them wanting Nikola Vucevic. At 24, the OKC Thunder, nope, they're good. They have nothing to do with Vuce. At 25, the Orlando Magic, they send him to us. At 26 and 27, the Brooklyn Nets, I don't think so. I don't see any way that helps them. At 28, the Boston Celtics. At 29, the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Phoenix Suns are at number 29. And then at 30, the Los Angeles Clippers. So my question is okay, you want a low first-round pick back, right? Now, unless you're looking at three-team trades, which is always an option, and that's always kind of difficult to kind of gauge when you're talking about three-team trades and things like that because you just never know what you can get back from the third team or something like that. But overall, I think the Bulls are going to have a little bit of a difficult go if they're looking for a late first-round pick to get back in the case of Nikola Vucevic. But, hey, anything is possible. But I do think that most likely, while the Bulls are open to a first-round pick, they're probably going to have to settle for a couple of seconds. That's just my guess. I would love to be wrong on that. If AK can get more back in a Nikola Vucevic trade, hats off to Arturas Karnisovas. He's able to do that. As much as I'm a Bulls fan, I'm not a front runner. So I have my questions on if that's going to be something they're actually able to do. But like I said, if AK is able to pull that off, hats off to AK. That'd be a great move by AK. I don't know if it's possible, but swinging for the Celtics pick in efforts to help offload Porzingis or because the Suns really need a center, maybe the 29th pick. Is this how we get Drake Powell? I don't think Drake Powell is going to be that low at number 29. I don't think you're looking at that. I think you're maybe looking at the Ryan Kalkbrenners, those type of players. Maybe Rocco, right? Zakarsky, maybe you're looking at him. I think that at this point, Drake Powell's hype has pushed him up. He's going to be probably right outside the lottery, if not a low lottery pick. We got Corn in the building who's been MIA in the voicemails for like 3 weeks. What's up, Corn? Samir says, if we get an early second and pair that with our second, maybe we can trade into the mid-20s. That's not a bad plan there. It's not a bad plan. We got Nathan in the building says, what up, bro? What's going on, Nathan? It's AK picking a direction, Hayes. I like what I'm hearing. I think so. I think what we're seeing through what's been communicated and if the actions follow is that the Bulls are fully committed to going young, which is funny enough, exactly what he said he wanted to do when he took over the team. Then he made a trade for Nikola Vučević and signed DeMar DeRozan in the following offseason, right? So this may be a course correction. The Bulls took the long route to get there, but it seems like they may be right back where they started at and ready to go after young talent, right? Hovind says, Bulls need to stop being greedy. No team is going to offer a first for Vooch. I agree with you. I think that's going to be, unless, like I said, unless it's a team that really has no use for a young player, which does happen sometimes. It does happen. So I've been kind of hoping the Bulls would move one of the expiring players for a late first or second. It's the right move, especially in the draft, if they can get it done. Agreed. 100% agree with you on that one. The guy averages double-double and can get hot from the perimeter. Competitive teams need this. I agree with you. I think the truth is somewhere in the middle, right? The people who think that the Bulls can't move Nikola Vucevic because he's some horrible player are wrong. I think people who think, oh, my God, Vooch, and there's a very small community that think Vooch is a 20-10 guy. We got to at least get a lottery pick for him because I've seen some of those comments. It's like, what are you smoking? What type of dope is it? What type is it available to the public? Are you smoking a new strain? What is it? Well, I guess we shall see. He a double-double machine. Late first seems reasonable. It does. It does seem reasonable for sure. I thought Miami got the Warriors pick. Oh, I think you may be right. Give me 1 second. You are right. The Miami did get the Warriors pick. So the Miami has that pick, not Golden State. Good call out on that one. My fault. I was looking at where it originated from, not where it is right now. That's on me. For crying out loud, they're not getting a first-round pick. I don't know why they want a first for a dude that is on the tail end of his career. Here's the other side of that, Shay. Let me respond to that. If the Bulls went into things saying, I'll bet we want some seconds, then teams are always going to try to lowball you. So if the Bulls are going into the negotiation, and I do believe if this is true, the Bulls floated this out there because if teams believe that your asking price is a late first, and they'll feel like, all right, bet if we give them a couple of seconds, we're giving them, not their asking price, but we're getting the steal because they wanted the first. Keep in mind, there's a lot of posturing when it comes to moves like this as far as teams. You always want to start off high, right? You always want to start your negotiations off high at what your asking price is. And then let teams talk you down from that. Let teams say, all right, bet we can't give you the late first, but we got 2 seconds and we got this expiring contract or whatever it ends up being, right? That's what you want to have in a term like that. Personally, if Whitmore can be had and we can send Vooch in some seconds or other assets to the Rockets because they can replace Steven Adams. I like that more than this, but hey, I don't know. Listen, the Rockets are making a move for Nikola Vucevic. I can tell you that right now. Not with Alfred Sengun on that team, and I think it came out yesterday that they are focused on bringing back Steven Adams. That they are. That's one of their off-season goals is bringing back Steven Adams. So I don't think that that's going to happen. Vooch back in Orlando would kind of be nice for them. I mean, yeah, to a degree. I mean, they do need some offense, but I think I just don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe Miami or the Warriors or the Kings. That's funny. The Kings. I said the Kings should trade for – the Kings should just get Vooch and Lonzo, and they should just be the commit to being the West Coast Bulls. Man, take some seconds and move on. Yeah, but like I said, I think you got to start your asking price off high. That's what you want to do in negotiations. You start your asking price off high. Let teams talk you down. That's what I would do, right? Let teams talk you down. Also, Boston needs to make some moves. Not sure the Vooch deal is good enough, but to help them. Listen. Let me throw this out there. This is a throwaway season for the Boston Celtics. Tatum is not going to be there at all probably the next season. So if the Bulls can move off of Kristaps Porzingis, who's still getting paid 10 or 12 million more than Vooch. You get Vooch as a 3-team trade. I'm not saying the Bulls get Kristaps. I'm saying in a 3-team trade, they end up taking Vooch back. Vooch expires at the end of the season. They got $12 million off their books, which I think puts them below the second tax apron, and you got an expiring contract for next year. I'm not saying that they would be interested, but I'm saying if they would, maybe that's the angle you could take with it there. Maybe. Could Cedric Howard be a target around 20? I think Cedric Howard's going higher than that. I think he's probably going right outside the lottery at the worst. And I mean right outside the lottery. I think the OKC Thunder picking number 15. OKC picks at 15. I highly doubt he makes it past the Thunder at 15. Cedric Howard feels like the exact type of pick that the OKC Thunder would take. I highly doubt he makes it past them. Highly doubt it. If he even makes it that far. A couple of seconds, yeah. I don't know about a late first, though. Depends on who wants them. They must have a team in mind already. They could be, or not. I mean, or they could have floated this out to say, hey, other teams are interested. Which, again, like I said, right now it's a lot of posturing. But this close to the draft, it's going to be a lot of posturing, a lot of posturing. Hayes, remember I'm a Vooch supporter, but even I woke up to the fact that that his age plays a big factor, despite the 2010 that he could average just on a realistic. No, you're 100% right, 100% right there, Brody. Sacramento Bulls need to complete the set, trade the farm for a package of Lonzo and Vooch. That would be hilarious. Why didn't they trade Lonzo for a first when they had the chance? Why did they sign PK to a 5-year deal? Don't trust AK and Eversley. I think that's been made clear already. Like, some of y'all is just so glass half empty. Like, I get it. This team has earned that, though. This team has put their fan base in that place. City streets confused. I mean, like I said, I think this is more a thing of where you start your asking price off high, and then you negotiate and letting the teams negotiate you down. And this is the same thing that happens for Black Friday deals. Most people don't remember that. Go and look at prices a month before Black Friday, and then look at them a week before Black Friday. Places actually inflate their prices, and then they bring them back down around Black Friday so they can say, "Oh, it's 15% off." No, it's only 15% off because your dumb ass went up on the price for a week. That's really what I think the Bulls are doing here, personally. Maybe something like 36 from the Nets to the Bulls to the Celtics, Porzingis, and the 28th to the Nets. Listen, that's Von's community. I ain't got time to be cooking up a bunch of trade ideas. So, thank you, God. I know you was listening to me. That is hilarious. Y'all praying for Vooch trades? Like, y'all wasting prayer on Vooch trades? That's crazy. Maybe Vooch for the Suns pick. Isn't it like 28 or 29? Yeah, but the Suns are a second tax apron team. I know that Vooch's contract is reasonable at $20 million. I think it's actually, was it the scaling? Is it 19 now? But that's a lot of money for a team over the second tax apron to take. A lot of it. Watch Cedric will land to the Bulls. If not, I would love Danny Wolf. I mean, that's another. If the Bulls can get back into the 20s, imagine if the Bulls could walk away. And this is what I hate about us not trading Lonzo. If the Bulls had traded Lonzo and we had 12 and 18, that could be Cedric Coward and Danny Wolf, or Cedric Coward and Thomas Sorber. Like, it could be something like that. Like, it's the Bulls, man. The AK, bro. Like, it's so frustrating sometimes. Hayes, the more and more I think about us not trading away Ball for the first-round pick, I get more pissed off because we can actually not even have this problem right now. You're 100% right. 100% right. So, start off high and end low, but if I'm the Bulls, I'm including Vooch in the deal for I don't think we're getting Kuminga. Like, this is why I always say, don't allow the rumors to become your opinion. And Levante, I know you stay on top of everything. That's not a shot at you. But so many fans, they hear these rumors over the summer, and then that becomes their opinion or their expectation, and then they get disappointed when it's not going to happen. The Kuminga thing, I think, was always something that it might have been talked about at one moment. They might have had exploratory talks, but I just don't really think that it's something that's really going to happen for the Bulls. I just don't. But we'll see. Yeah, if you can get some second-round picks, it might be worth it to get into this draft for the next. Yeah, both of them. You're right, because next year's draft is going to be deep too, for sure. Draft world at 12. Draft. Oh, you mean Wolf? Okay, Wolf at 12. If they can get Coward, if they can get a late draft. Jesus, bro. Did you have a stroke when typing this? In the first round, then we have a full team. First of all, you're not drafting Wolf at 12. Wolf at 12 is not a good use of your assets. You're not drafting Wolf at 12. Sorry. And that's I actually like Danny Wolf, but you're not getting Wolf. You're not going to draft Wolf at 12. That's way too high to take Danny Wolf. And to your point, it may be too high to take Cedric Coward as well. But, I think that's too high to take Danny Wolf. If you're going to draft a center at 12, I'd rather go Asa Newell, Thomas Sorber. Queen isn't a fit. Wolf actually fits with where this team is now. So, who's telling you Wolf is going in the lottery? Who's telling you? Somebody saying Wolf's going in the lottery? Either fix the overall perimeter defense or get the rim protector, or you could do both. You could try to do both. Noah Essingu. I like him. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's very high upside, which necessarily isn't a bad thing, but, we'll see. I know I'm just saying either way, but get rid of Vooch for a couple of seconds and then try to trade up into the first. Yeah, I mean, listen, if I'm the Bulls, I'm going to try to be aggressive about moving back into the late first round of this draft because that gives you maybe you can take high upside at 12, and then you could still get a center later in this draft, I think. So. I don't want Kuminga on my Bulls. He's going to stunt modest growth. Let's take Cedric at 12 and sit till for the season. Sit still to the season. See, could still get Coward and Sorber if they can get that Kobe White trade for Magic pick. Kuminga to the Bulls makes us about as much sense as his hairline. That is wild. That is crazy. That's crazy. But hey, I see what you're getting at. I see what you're trying to do there. I don't listen. I know that there's been a lot of Kobe talk, and I'm not saying that it's an impossibility. That's definitely not what I'm saying. I just don't know if I believe, as much as AK's been a continuity person. And I mean, listen, if we want to say we want to shift, right? But I believe it when we see it. I definitely believe it when we see it. Are you going to do a draft profile on SNQ? I already did. I covered him in my underrated players list. I covered him twice, I think, actually, already. So, yeah, SNQ's been covered. Just scroll through the feed. You'll see I think he's on the thumbnail. You see a thumbnail with him on it. But I did do a draft profile on SNQ. Brum says, I think there are going to be some all right centers in the second. Everyone wants a wing and ball handlers. Nah, I don't know, man. Keep in mind, there's a lot of teams that are looking for centers right now, too. So, especially later, we'll see. Remember 2020 Beg Bulls to draft him. 2020 draft game winner Haliburton. He is skinny. Bro, is that English? You can't, you got to be English second lane. Come on, bro. Have some respect for my eyes, bro. Come on, man. Come on, bro. I just hope he doesn't miss this year because looking at Tyrese Haliburton is making me pissed how AK missed him. Well, it wasn't just AK. There was a lot of teams. Not a lot of teams had Haliburton high on their board. I'm just being honest with you. But like I said over on Locked on Bulls today, it literally came down to if we would have kept Gar Forman one more year, I would have almost guaranteed Tyrese Haliburton wouldn't have been the pick. And I know that they weren't looking at point guards necessarily because they had Kobe and Vision as a point guard. But listen, I tell you right now, I think Kobe and Haliburton actually could work as a backcourt. But that's just me. What are your thoughts on Maxime Reynaud? I actually have a draft profile on him, so go look at that. If we knew what each team's actual plan next year was, then you get a better read on the draft. Maybe, but if you like a guy, I'm not broadcasting it out there to make teams think twice on that guy. I mean, here's the thing. I think if you also are trying to throw teams off the scent, you broadcast that you may be interested in somebody or embellish your interest in players a little bit more, kind of see how teams start moving around. Do they start wiggling, right? Those type of things. Would you take Jay Fears if he's there at 12? No. I don't like Fears for this team. I think you show your cards. You're trying to throw the scent off of the actual play. Agreed with that one. Agreed. I didn't read that second comment before him, but I 100% agree with you there. I think if you start broadcasting what your plans are, you're trying to throw people off the scent. 100% agree with you there. Why would Gar Paxson pick Hallie? Because Paxson went to the same school as Haliburton, and they actually they did scout him. They actually scouted him pretty heavily before they got fired, right? So, and I said this before. I think AK took over the draft process with what he was doing with the Nuggets at the time. He just carried over the draft process and just took players higher. But Iowa is where Gar recruited at a lot. So that's why Gar Forman would have absolutely taken Tyrese Haliburton. I have no doubts in my mind. He would have absolutely taken Tyrese Haliburton. The best thing to do is see a lot of guys and don't necessarily say much about any specific fitting better or worse because teams try to follow an offensive blueprint could look at that. Yeah, I get it, but I mean, you got to keep in mind teams know who other teams are looking. They have an idea. I don't think that they exactly know the exact order of their board, but they do have an idea of who other teams are looking at because they've seen them. When you go scout, the scouts know each other, so they see the scouts from the other team. So you got to keep in mind a lot of that is known. It's an inner circle, right? But all right, y'all, I got to get ready to go, man. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following us at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any. This is, by the way, maybe my new favorite, just regular Bulls tee. I love the way they did the scripting on this one. New. Go to Fanatics. Get yours. By the way, and it got Modest's number on the back. So my first Modest Buzilis thing. But love you guys. Make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. BullCentralPod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, go Bulls. Love you guys. See you right if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.